I'm very honoured to be inducted into the America's Cup Hall of Fame, which is a huge honour particularly for some, not a competitor or a syndicate head, but rather as an administrator. I think it's a revolution, but it's a revolution inside what we've already got. So we had the catamarans in San Francisco and the super catamarans in Bermuda, and in many ways this is just a further extension of that. Because that was a huge change, but I see what's happening now is just an extension of that development, and that's the nature of the event. Probably not as scary as it is now, but certainly the nature of the event is very much one of change and revolution, which makes the America's Cup what it is. I think probably after Australia 2 won the America's Cup in Newport in *83. Then we saw a change where it was a complete change of direction of what those boats looked like. And so that was perhaps a lesser revolution, but it was. Then I think when it was decided to go with the IACC boats, that was a significant change, to go to a much lighter boat, a bigger boat. And equally when the changes were made to catamarans and then found that you could foil catamarans, it's just history moving on. No, I don't think it's been a difficult part. It's been an extremely exciting part, and you feel very special when you see stuff way in advance of anybody else knowing about it, and the trust that people have in you, that they can talk about stuff honestly and frankly, and know that conversation's not going any further. But yes, I don't know about difficult, but it's certainly it's been fun, a lot of fun. I think you get into the time, the frame where you're really thinking, you're so conscious that there is so much confidential information that you're party to. You're very guarded about what you say anywhere, even walking down the street or in conversations with other teams, even conversations within teams where you're not sure that who knows about all these aspects that are going on at that particular point in time.
Was it fun?
Oh yeah, it was fun. It's fun, serious fun. I think probably the biggest one, and because I was so young at the time, was the Australia 2 secret. That was a secret that was held for 18 months before it blew up. The hula was a fairly big secret, and even some of the stuff, for example, on the catamarans, some of that's still secret, and will remain so, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Well, the fact that I knew I'd seen a lines plan for the boat, and I'd seen the boat, as I said, 18 months before the boat, or 12 months before the boat went to Newport, and I told nobody, not a soul, not my family, not my father, nobody. It just became part of my nature, or part of the way I had to operate, that I couldn't tell anybody what was going on. Yes, you do, but I think what happens is at the end of the day, you've got to make a decision, and you've got to stick by it, whatever that decision is. And you've just got to say, well, I'm sorry, I don't agree with the way that you're reading this. And ultimately it gets down to the point you say, well, if push comes to shove, you're not getting a certificate. But it doesn't get to that. You just say, look, I'm not happy about that, and I'm sorry, but I won't accept it. And yes, and there is pressure, for sure. There's a lot of pressure, and there has been pressure applied, not in a nasty way, but certainly in a forceful way. Forceful may be too strong a word, but a fairly robust way, may be a better way to put it. And in many ways, that's my right. In many ways, when you go to measure a boat, you're not there for the measurement committee, but you're there for the other competitors. That you're their representative, because they're not getting to see the boat or whatever they're looking at. So you're there making sure that the field is as level as possible inside the America's Cup. This is not one design. This is a development, and so it's the level. That's, you just get it as level as you can, consistent with those rules. I think all of them have got an element that makes them different and makes them exciting. I mean, the ones in New Zealand were great. The one in Valencia was great. The one in Bermuda was fantastic. They've all got their own thing that you look back and say, well, that was a fantastic regatta, and it was fun to be there. Well, I think the Cup has contributed a huge amount to sailing. So much of what we see on those boats out there came originally from the Cup. Whether it's coming now is arguable, but I think and if you look at Formula One motor racing, it's the same. I mean, we're all driving cars that a lot of the good things that have come from cars come from that. Even though they seem so obtuse and so out of kilter with us all driving down the street, good things come. And I think the same thing happens with what we've got now with the foiling. Maybe there'll be, you can't tell, but maybe in 10 years' time there'll be an automatic control system that can manage the foils. I mean, foils are clearly not for sailing around cows, or at least with amateurs, but it could be in 10 years' time the technology will have shifted such that you'll have a computer system which will control the foils and make them safe. No, not strange, I don't think, on the basis that it's all about very wealthy people wanting to play. It's hard to raise corporate dollars, and I think there's just not the appetite for it in Australia. There are not the Alan Bond sort of people around that want to do this at the moment, but that may change. I think it's just a toning down of wealth. People, there's some very wealthy people in America and Europe. There's probably not those. There's certainly wealthy people in Australia, but to play at this game, it's mega wealthy. It's not just wealthy, I think, and I don't think those sorts of people are prepared to play it. There are obviously exceptions, and they're just choosing not to play.